We're coming to you from the Radford Studio Center lot in Studio City, right over the hill from Hollywood. This is the place where dreams are made, legends are born. Hello and welcome to The Lot. I'm Suzanne Marquez. We are kicking things off with the music of Florence and the Machine. Film director and celebrity photographer Autumn DeWilde was the visionary for this music video, My Love. And the blonde to the right of Florence is Autumn's daughter, Arrow, glammed up 20s Art Deco style for the shoot. Arrow is also the full-throttle frontwoman of LA rock band Starcrawler. They've opened for the Foo Fighters, Beck. They have shows booked with My Chemical Romance and Jack White. Starcrawler's music is made for blaring out of car speakers with the windows down and the volume up.
When we were thinking of a video for that song, we were super inspired by action movies. First off, we wanted to do something like super action, and also like those opening sequences of Jackass where they're all like running.
Gabriel DeWilde formed the band at Grand Arts High School in downtown LA with guitarist Henry Cash and bass player Tim Franco. They're now a five-piece with a raw rock and roll sound and leveled up with songs like the empowering title track, She Said.
We wanted to kind of create something a little more intimate in between the fantasy music videos. Thought it'd be cool to just kind of show fans what we really like, because that is just like us hanging at the studio and on tour, like mixed in.
Their song Stranded is inspired by the time Phoebe Bridgers' guitar player crashed into Henry during a late night drive. Starcrawler has an upcoming show with Jack White, a full circle moment for Henry.
Didn't you go on stage with Jack when you were a kid, right?
I got up to side stage. I was being crushed in the crowd. Yeah, I was being crushed in the crowd by all these older women, and then he was on stage talking to his tech, and the tech came down to me and said that you have a friend on stage, and I said, no, I don't. And they're like, you have a friend on stage. Then me and two other kids got taken. We got to watch the whole thing from side stage, which was cool. But
moments like that can really
yeah, and I think it's cool too, because that had a huge impact on me as a young musician, feeling oh, this is not too far away.
Now the stars want to work with Starcrawler.
I was totally in the wrong, but dude, I kind of have a warrant, so could we just not call the cops?
Oh, you gotta love Steve-O. Miranda Cosgrove and Geena Davis are teaming up to get more girls in STEM careers. That's science, tech, engineering, and math. Since Geena opened her institute on gender and media 18 years ago, women now have equal representation on screen. I caught up with the incredible Oscar-winning activist.
How come Daryl let you go?
Because I didn't ask him.
He's gonna kill you!
I left him a note.
Geena Davis is known for her unforgettable roles as Thelma in Thelma and Louise, as a ghost in Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice!
And as a catcher who gave as good as she got in A League of Their Own.
Some of you are gonna have to go home.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Come on, Doris.
Those people are jerks.
What do you mean, some of us?
Do it. Okay, some of them are going home.
Hey, how did you do that?
I realized early on that I didn't want to play the role that's just the girlfriend of the person that's doing all the interesting stuff. And I'm really, really very fortunate that I've been able to play roles like that. But that's what has appealed to me. I want to play baseball rather than be the girlfriend of the person playing baseball.
I'm Geena Davis, and this is how I arch.
Geena took up archery and within 2.5 years qualified as a semifinalist for the Olympic trials. So when she became a mom and saw a problem, she decided to be the one to fix it.
My obsession with representations on screen started when I had little kids and watched with them and saw that these worlds were wildly lacking in female characters, and certainly not very much diversity as well. And I was kind of horrified, and I found that nobody else seemed to be noticing what I was noticing. So that made me think, okay, this might be just unconscious bias. So if I can get data about this, maybe that will have an impact. And so that's what I did. And 18 years later, we feel like we really have had an impact on how female characters are represented, particularly in kids' entertainment.
And what change have you seen? What are some of your achievements, or just do you see a shift in broader terms?
You know, somehow or other, I came up with a scheme, a plan to effect change that actually works, and, which was to take the data and go directly to the people creating these shows, TV and movies, and share it with them privately. Like there's no public busting of anybody ever. And the remarkable thing was, it was so unconscious that people were horrified to hear the numbers, because they thought they were doing right by girls, and to find that they weren't was stunning. So we just a couple of years ago updated our TV research and our movie research, and found that we had reached parity in the lead characters in both TV and movies. So I mean, this is so wildly different from when we started. So it's very gratifying to see the change happening.
Her new passion is girls in STEM. She's teamed up with Miranda Cosgrove to create change for girls under the hashtag Girls Lead STEM. STEM standing for science, tech, engineering, and math.
What is the secret sauce to Geena Davis's career and life?
I take everything too far. I just do. Whatever. So I have to be actually careful about what I get interested in, because whatever it is, I will want to go to the Olympics in it. So Halloween's coming up. I have my pumpkin obsession going on. So we'll have to see what I come up with this year.
A new film set to bewitch audiences October 21st is Voodoo Macbeth. It's the true story of young Orson Welles and a group of committed artists. They shake up Shakespeare in what is now considered to be a landmark event in African-American theater history.
Shut your eyes and listen.
In Voodoo Macbeth, Orson Welles exchanges the witchcraft of Shakespeare's original Macbeth for Caribbean voodoo with an all-black cast. The 1930s production was controversial, provoking protests from Harlemites who considered it an exploitation and politicians who thought it was subversive. The play had packed audiences and was wildly successful, playing the Lafayette Theater for 10 weeks and toured across the country.
We all know him from Citizen Kane and all of the iconic movies he made, but this play at 20, it just shows his genius.
It really does. I was so excited that I got to tell a piece of Orson history that isn't really explored. Like when we think about his big fame, it's the War of the Worlds broadcast, it's Citizen Kane. But for most of Orson's career, he felt like this production was his biggest success. And I think that's very telling.
If I'm going to direct, it needs to be something that will put me on the map.
It's the Negro Theater Unit.
The film also introduces us to Rose McClendon, a Broadway star in the 1920s, who was a key figure in the Harlem Renaissance. Her story, until now, was lost to history and brought to life by Harvard grad and actor Inger Tudor.
For me, the biggest thing was when we were doing one of the table reads of an early draft, I remember thinking, how did I live in New York for 9 years doing theater, and I've never heard of this woman who was a Broadway diva with a consistent career from about 1919 to 1936 in the middle of the Harlem Renaissance, and I'd never heard of her. And I kept thinking, well, maybe I'm just a bad theater student. But as I talked to more people, I realized that a lot of people have never heard of her, and she's part of Black theater history.
Can I just say which makes them suspicious?
Say the words Shakespeare gave you and mean what you just said. This film is making history too. It's the first major theatrical release from a university, a USC original film in association with Warner Brothers, overseen by a veteran Hollywood producer whose movies include Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Backdraft, Professor John Watson.
What I mainly bring to it is a gigantic passion for the process. I just never get tired of going from an idea and this vague idea and then words on a page, and then suddenly there it is up on the big screen. I never tire of it. It's a great joy in that process.
Accomplishment. Up next, she plays a badass female fire captain and has a fun and funny book about her interracial family. She has her eye on some of the biggest names in music. A celebrity photographer takes us along for her latest project.
And it's funny. It's not heavy. It's called Kissing Outside the Lines.
And why Diane Farr says being the boss on Fire Country is so refreshing.
It's been 4 years since Michael Myers vanished without a trace.
Horror movie fans will get the conclusion to a story that started more than 40 years ago this week. We'll see if Michael Myers finally takes down Laurie Strode in Halloween Ends. Fans were treated to a red carpet premiere, including Michael Myers himself. The star of the Halloween franchise, Jamie Lee Curtis, says this time we're getting an end to the story everyone's been waiting for.
It feels complete. I feel very proud of the work that David Gordon Green has done with this trilogy. I'm incredibly proud of the 1978 movie, which stands up all these years later as a masterpiece.
By the way, she doesn't even like scary movies, so she won't be watching this, but she does know the ending. The story of Halloween Ends picks up 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills. You can watch the final installment of Halloween in theaters and streaming on Peacock. Fine art photographer Anna Gabriel just released a book with her famous father, singer Peter Gabriel. She filmed some of the biggest names in music in extreme close-up.
When I was a little girl, one of my favorite songs to request, you could still put a quarter in a machine. It was Sledgehammer by your father. I forget what age I was, but it was so iconic, and that incredible music video. What was it like growing up the daughter of somebody who is so celebrated and creative?
Yeah, well, it's always hard to answer that question because I don't really know any different. I was actually in that video though when I was 12, I think. I don't really like to put it out because I have a horrible 80s hairdo and shirt going on, but it's literally a second or millisecond right after he sits down and moves to the side and the group of backup singers circle him, and then he's on a chair and it flips to different people, and me and my sister are the first two people it flips to.
Anna Gabriel's book, ID, is a series of extreme close-up photographs of eyes we all know: David Byrne, Mick Fleetwood, Annie Lennox, Johnny Depp. She focuses her man-made lens on the human one, showcasing the fact that our connections and emotions flow between us through the window to the soul, the eye.
As I was shooting them, I sort of thought, what, the eye is just, it's the interesting part, and it's fascinating. And I think, especially in the last couple of years, we've all found, when you're wearing a mask, you can still tell a lot about someone and what they're feeling and their expressions through their eyes.
U2's song Numb, featuring The Edge, focuses on sensory overload, and Anna took it down to basics when shooting her famous subjects.
It was just me and a camera, no lights, no setup. It was just literally a macro lens in their face, and done very quickly with natural daylight. So a lot of them were, backstage at shows, in hotel rooms, at people's houses. It was all sorts of all over the place, which as a photographer was an interesting challenge, sort of trying to manage on the go, as it were. if you sit back a little and let them lead you, you kind of, I think, get to a deeper place with someone because it's a little more, it becomes more intimate.
Still to come, we are getting spooky with Starcrawler. I challenged them to a pumpkin carving contest. Who came out on top? We reveal the winning pumpkin. And Ghostbusters costumes are always classic, but now you can stay in the actual firehouse as long as you're cool with Slimer being your bunkmate.
Mother puss bucket.
Where are you going to stay? How about the Ghostbusters Firehouse in Portland, Oregon? The rate is just $19.84 a night in honor of the year the movie came out. The 2-bedroom, 3-story firehouse was built in the early 1900s with all the comforts of home. Don't worry, the ectoplasm has been all cleaned up. Mark your calendars for Friday morning, October 21st. You can book it at vacasa.com. First come, first served, and one group of 5 lucky guests will get the opportunity to stay Halloween weekend, courtesy of Vacasa and Sony Pictures. And a donation will go to the Oregon Volunteer Firefighters Association. Things got spooky with Starcrawler when I challenged the 5 bandmates to a pumpkin carving contest set to the tune of their latest hits. Enjoy.
Green light, black night, no one knows. Looking for the answers in an empty road. I can't
Where are you gonna scoop the goo?
but it seems like I always do. Everybody seems to have a place to go. I'm just driving, looking for.
No, we're not competitive. I usually win.
Yeah, get in there.
Smile's like the hardest part.
Be with you, stranded on the side of a one-way street. The stars in her eyes won't shine on me. Whisper in the night, hoping someone sees. Shine on me, shine on me. She said she didn't want to play. I didn't want it any other way. So I left, pulled myself up off the floor. And now I can't go back there anymore. Please, please come back to me. I don't care if you even mind.
Which one's the best? You don't have to agree.
I think Bill's is the most terrifying.
Bill's is the scariest.
Seth's is like goofy, evil.
Yeah, Seth did the fancy, like, the little things.
Oh yeah.
The little
Yeah, it's like
extra
James and the
bits.
Giant.
I used to work for Pixar. Oh, I'm just kidding. Should we smash them?
No. I can't pick a favorite, they're all adorable. Well, the big boss on Fire Country stopped by the lot. I found out actor and author Diane Farr and I share the same birthday.
You guys gotta quit being stupid.
We have over 80 years in the field and several postgraduate degrees. I would watch who you call stupid.
So Diane Farr, so honored you're here, my birthday sister and twin.
I'm so glad to be here. September 7th,
Yes.
Virgos Unite.
Best day of the year. So let's just first of all talk about your current role as this powerful woman on a brand new show on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Fire Country. It's so fun. It's so fun to be the boss. And also, can I just say, it's so fun not to be the ingenue anymore.
Yes.
This was the first job I ever had when I walked in. I was like, I'm the matriarch. I'm the like grown lady of all the things. And I was like, this is much easier. I know how to do this.
Right?
I still want my hair to look nice, but I also feel like, oh, I can use all of my voice.
Let's talk about your character.
Sharon Leone is the district chief of all these firehouses. So Cal Fire is a real thing in California. There's about 475 stations. And I had played a firefighter previously, but I didn't understand that this was wildfire. that it's outside. So CAL FIRE covers from Mexico to Oregon. They do water rescues, they do cliff rescues. It's like very alive, and with global warming, there's so much on fire. Like even as I was driving up to shoot the show, Yosemite was on fire. So every day, me and the kids are in the minivan, like traversing America, and CAL FIRE trucks are going by us, and you were like, this is what's happening as it gets hotter and hotter here. LA has all this foliage, but we have the temperature of Arizona. Those people are working really hard.
You're an author as well. Can we talk about your books?
Yes, I have 2 books out. My last one is about interracial marriage in America, and it's funny. It's not heavy. It's called Kissing Outside the Lines. I have 3 interracial children, and it's a great state to live in where there is such a large Asian community, and watching my kids now as teenagers navigate how they want to identify. Identify is such a thing for their generation.
Yes.
Gender, sexual orientation, but also race. If you come out as multiracial, they sort of get to pick who they want to identify as. My favorite thing recently was one of my kids, I won't say who, I'll say they, came to me and said, "Mom, I have a new partner." I was like, "Great," and my child said, "They're Asian." And I realized my child doesn't know that I'm not Asian. I was like, great. Like they were telling me this as if it was a secret that they were going to share with me.
You really opened up yourself to show that all of us go through some really tough things. And by sharing your own story, it helps us all feel like we aren't alone either.
Yes, I had gotten engaged on a New Year's Eve a long time ago before my marriage, and it was lovely and it was exciting, and on Valentine's Day it was called off. And I had already sent out announcement cards. I had told the whole world I was dating someone. So when it was called off, I couldn't quite stop the train, and I had gifts, and I was like, what do I do with the gifts? Do I return them? How do I tell people? So I made up these unannouncement cards to tell people I was not engaged. So on the same stationery on the outside, it now said single instead of engaged, and on the inside it said pick the wrong guy, gave him the wrong finger, thanks for your support. So it became such a big hit. I started a greeting card company for all the hard things that we have to announce, whether that's I have cancer, or my dog has passed away, or my children's marriage didn't work, or I had a miscarriage, and they were great help. And about half the cards we gave away pro bono because people were struggling. And I think when she had me on for the like, how is she doing now?
Is she okay? Is she okay? We need to check on Diane.
Yes, I was 10 years into a marriage with 3 kids. It didn't miss a beat.
Whose house? A sports superstar who goes all out for Halloween. He takes us on a terrifying tour.
You better shape up, 'cause I need a man. And my heart is set on you.
It is an American musical romantic comedy classic, Grease, and your chance to stream it is running out. Check out all of the movies that are leaving Paramount Plus, including all of the Scream movies. Make sure to stream them this month before they are all gone.
Obviously, y'all know how much I love Halloween. I think we went insane this time. Check this out.
LA Lakers superstar LeBron James flexed his incredible Halloween decorations like Pennywise and his spooky laugh. Haunted baby doll Annabelle also makes an appearance among the pumpkins. So does Michael Myers of the Halloween movie series. Trick-or-treaters are in for an incredible setup, and I'll bet he hands out the full-size candy bars too. Well, that's a wrap. Join us next week when we go on location to learn Brad Pitt's moves from Bullet Train.